It is a memory that haunts the collective consciousness of the human race, a ghost story whispered across 10,000 years of history. We are told it is a myth, a cautionary tale invented by a Greek philosopher to warn against the perils of hubris and greed. But what if the story isn't a fable? What if the detailed accounts of a civilization possessing advanced engineering, naval supremacy, and architectural marvels were not born in the imagination, but were the fragmented records of a very real pre-Diluvian superpower? Beneath the crushing pressure of the world's oceans, or perhaps hidden in plain sight beneath shifting desert sands, lies the answer to humanity's greatest riddle. Today, we do not look for a fairy tale. We look for the smoking gun of a lost epoch.
To understand Atlantis, we must travel back not to the ocean, but to the dusty archives of ancient Egypt around 600 BC. Here, the Greek lawmaker Solon sought wisdom from the priests of Sais. It was here that the Sankis of Sais looked upon the Greek visitor with pity and uttered the famous words, "O Solon, Solon, you Greeks are always children." He revealed that while Greek memory had been wiped clean by catastrophes, the Egyptians had preserved the records of the deep past. They spoke of a mighty power that existed 9,000 years prior, an empire that dwelt beyond the Pillars of Hercules. This was not a vague rumor. The priests provided precise dimensions, political hierarchies, and a genealogy of kings descended from Poseidon himself. This testimony, passed to Plato, became the bedrock of the Timaeus and Critias dialogues.
Plato was agonizingly specific in his description, almost as if he were describing a blueprint rather than a dream. He described a city of alternating zones of sea and land, 3 of water, 2 of land, encircling a central island citadel. The engineering required to dredge these massive canals suggests a mastery of hydraulics that rivals the modern world. The walls were not merely stone, they were clad in precious metals, brass, tin, and a mysterious substance known as Orichalcum, which glowed with a fiery red brilliance. The stone quarried from the island was red, white, and black, creating a striking visual tapestry. This was a thalassocracy, a sea-based empire that controlled trade routes extending from the Mediterranean to the Americas, a hub of commerce where the babble of languages filled the air and the harbors were choked with vessels from every corner of the known world. But great power breeds absolute corruption. The divine portion within the Atlanteans began to fade, diluted by mortal admixture and human frailty. The Utopia descended into a surveillance state of greed and imperialistic ambition. They ceased to be content with their island paradise and launched a war of subjugation against the peoples of the Mediterranean, enslaving parts of Libya and Tyrrhenia, pushing relentlessly toward Egypt and Athens. It was a clash of civilizations, the technological might of the West against the disciplined spirit of the East. Plato describes this moral decay as the trigger for their ultimate doom. The universe, or perhaps the geological instability of their location, could no longer abide their hubris. The gods gathered in their halls, and Zeus determined to lay a judgment upon them. Then the unthinkable happened. It was not a slow decline, but a sudden, violent erasure. Plato writes, "But afterwards there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune, all your warlike men in a body sank into the earth, and the island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared in the depths of the sea." This description aligns terrifyingly well with the mechanics of a glacial meltwater pulse or a tectonic subsidence event like the Storegga slide or the eruption of Thera. An entire civilization, its history, its science, and its people, drowned in 24 hours. The mud created by the sinking island allegedly made the ocean impassable for centuries, a detail that suggests a massive release of pumice rafts, typical of volcanic collapse. The empire was gone, leaving only silence. For centuries, we looked to the bottom of the Atlantic, but perhaps we have been looking in the wrong element entirely. Recent satellite archaeology has drawn striking parallels to the Richat Structure in Mauritania, the Eye of the Sahara. Viewed from space, it is a geological anomaly of concentric circles matching Plato's dimensions almost to the stadia. It sits bordered by mountains to the north and opens to the sea in the south, exactly as the texts describe. Evidence of water erosion and salt deposits suggests this area was once submerged or subjected to massive water flow. Could the sinking of Atlantis actually be a memory of rising sea levels consuming a low-lying coastal civilization at the end of the Younger Dryas period? The evidence is fragmentary, but the correlation is impossible to ignore.
Whether Atlantis lies beneath the ice of Antarctica, the sands of the Sahara, or the waves of the Azores, its true location may be less important than its legacy. Atlantis is the ultimate archetype of the lost Golden Age, a reminder that civilization is fragile. We build our towers of glass and steel, believing we are masters of the earth, just as they did. But the ocean is patient, and the earth is volatile. The story of Atlantis is not just a mystery to be solved, it is a mirror reflecting our own potential for greatness and our vulnerability to destruction. Until the ocean gives up its dead, we will keep searching, forever haunted by the City of Rings.